Hello, fellow Daz Studio enthusiasts. This is Not From This World, and I want to welcome you back to another tutorial. This week, we're going to continue talking about the layered image editor. Last week, I showed you how you can add layers to our character. So I gave Milika some Egyptian makeup. This week, I want to show how we can layer clothing. Most of what we talk about will be the same as the character, but there are some interesting differences that I want to bring up, especially saving our work so that we can use it over and over again. So to begin with, I have my Milika character again, and you can see I have a tank top on her. The tank top is called the D-Force Off-Shoulder Midriff Tee. And so what we want to do is we want to customize this t-shirt. And if we open it up, it has quite a few different choices. And so we can, just select the tee and we can select different textures. Pretty cool. This is a pretty good prop. It's D-Force enabled, but let's say we want to add something new to it. So to get something new, what I'm going to do is I am going to select the white and just make her t-shirt completely white. We're going to go down to the Surface tab, and if you notice, the t-shirt that I have has three choices. It has a neck, the shirt itself, and then the sleeves. So what we want to do is I want to put a new logo on her front. So we're going to select the shirt, and then I'm going to hit base, and then with our base color, I'm just going to click on this, and I'm going to come up to browse, and it's going to open up our folder where all of the textures are for this piece of clothing. Now, it really doesn't matter which one we select for our manipulation. So I'm just going to select one. I'll just take this white one. I'm going to right click on it, and we're going to open it in GIMP. I'm going to hit convert, and we're going to open this up. So now we can see this, and all we're going to do is use this as a template, like what we did last week with the UV templates with the character's face. I'm just going to use this as a template. So now that I have this open, I'm going to create a layer. So let's make a new layer. We'll just hit OK. And then I'm going to work within this layer. Now what I'm thinking about adding is the YouTube logo. So I just did an internet search for YouTube logos, and we can select the one that we like. For example, if you notice, this one has our little checkerboard. So if we select this one, it's going to be transparent behind it, which is kind of cool. If we choose a different one, let's say like this one, you notice it doesn't have the little checker mark, so it's not going to be transparent. When we add it, you're going to have a white box. So it just depends on what you want to do. So let's choose, for this first example, one that's got a transparent background. So you can see this one has the little checker marks. So I'm just going to right-hand click, go to Save As, and I'm going to save it in my Daz Studio L.I.E textures. And it's a PNG image, and I can rename it YouTube if I want. So we're just going to hit save. Now that I chose my logo, I'm going to open it up. So I want to go File, Open, and then I'm going to go to that L.I.E folder, which is right here. And I want this YouTube PNG. We're going to click on it, and it's going to open it up. Now, what we have to do is go into our lasso, and we're going to trace around it and then move it onto our shirt top. All right, so I'm just gonna click on it. So it's kind of a tight fit here. See if I can get it as close as I can to the edge. All right, I'm just gonna hit Control C. I'm gonna open up my image here, go Control V, paste it. Now it's a little small, so I can resize it. I'm gonna kind of put it in the right position. To resize, I'm gonna hit Shift S, and now I can make this bigger. All right, so then I can adjust it. And then let's put it at an angle. So I'm gonna hit Control R for rotate, and then I can rotate my image. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'll just hit the rotate button. Now it's selected. And now we have our new logo. So now, remember, this is on the new layer. So just like I did with her makeup, I'm gonna click on the shirt background, right click, and just delete it. All right, now we have this logo, and I want to save it, so I'm going to go File, Export, and I'm going to put it in that L.I.E folder, and let's save it as Off-Shoulder Midriff Tee YouTube. All right, so I'm going to hit Export. And we're going to save it. So now we have this saved. So I can X out of GIMP. We want to get out of this. So I'm going to X out of that. And now we're going to go into the layered image editor. So with my t-shirt selected, I'm going to go to surfaces, go back to my base color picture. I'm going to click on it, go to layered image editor, open it up, and now we can add this layer. So I can go to the plus, go to add image layer. We're gonna have to scroll down to our folder we saved it in, which is right here, and then this is it right here. So I can double click on it, and now we have our logo on the t-shirt. You know, what's really cool is we can also reposition it. So I can grab this if I don't like where it's at, and see, I can move it if I didn't position it originally where I like it. So within the layered image editor, you can move your object around. Okay, now if we like that, I'm going to hit source over. We can do multiplicative, but because this was a transparent object, we may not need to do that. You can see it's already on the t-shirt. So this particular logo skipped the step of having to add the multiplicative blend. And then we just hit accept, and boom, there it is. Now see, it's kind of far over to her right. It's kind of on her right boob there. So I can come back here to the layered image editor, and we can adjust this a little bit. So we can move this over so it kind of fits her a little bit better. All right, and then just hit accept. And see, we can adjust it. So that might look a little bit better. All right, so now we have a logo. I want to show you something else we can do with the layered image editor. We can change the color of the shirt. So before we do that, I'm gonna just get rid of this YouTube logo for just a moment, and we're gonna come up here to the plus sign, and I'm gonna add a color layer. So I'm gonna add this color layer, and I can choose any color I want. I'm gonna choose something from here. I could go into our color palette and choose any color, but let's just choose a color from here. Maybe a nice, what would go good with YouTube? Probably a nice, maybe orange. So I can select that, go to the source over, go to multiplicative. All right, and you can see that it changes the color of our shirt. Now we can go back in, add that image layer, add our YouTube logo back in. It's under L.I.E textures. It's right here. So I can add that back in. And boom, now we have an orange shirt with the YouTube logo. So if I like that, I can hit accept. And now we changed. Now you might notice because I changed the color, our shirt looks weird now because the shirt, remember, has 3 parts. So now we're going to have to go into the neck, go into the base, open up the picture under the layered image editor. We're going to have to do the same thing. So we're just going to have to add a color layer. And this is why I just chose one of those right here, because I can just add the same color. Add multiplicative. Oops, that's not the right color. That's the color I had. So I'm going to add that color and then hit accept. And see, now that neck is correct. Then I have to just go to her sleeves, go to base color, layered image editor. We're just going to do the same thing. We're going to add a color layer. Make sure we choose the right color this time. Hit OK. Go to multiplicative. Boom. Now we've got that. Hit accept. And now we have that shirt complete. Okay. Now, in order to save it, we can save this in a similar way that we saved the makeup last week on our character. But there is a little extra step to this that I found confusing at first, because if we follow that same procedure to save this, it won't go to the right spot. So what we have to do is we want to save this layer to where our t-shirt is on our hard drive. So see, if I hover over this, you're going to see the file path. And the file path says it's in the D drive, external, my Daz 3D library 12, clothing, people, Genesis 8, female. And so the bummer is if I move my cursor, that's gonna go away. So when I hover over one of our textures, it shows us where everything's at, but we can't keep it there. So I have kind of a complicated setup here with a bunch of folders. So to help me, I just print screened that so I can make sure I go to the correct place to save this. So to save it, I'm going to click on, or make sure I'm clicked on the t-shirt. I'm going to go to File, Save As, go down to Layered Image Preset. All right. And then I have to find this pathway. All right. So what I have to do is I have to go to my D drive. Then I have to go to the clothing. So I'm going to click the D drive. I'm going to go to the folder that is my clothing. I'm going to go to people. Then I'm going to go to Genesis 8, female, clothing. Scroll down. The vendor that I bought this from is Sviva. So I click on Sviva. And then I find that off-shoulder midriff t-shirt. That's what we're working with. I'm going to click that. Then I'm going to go to materials. and I can save my t-shirt right here. Now I've already done this. You can see I have one that's called the Midriff T-shirt YouTube. So I'm gonna just name this one number 2 because I've tested. You know, I test things before I make my tutorials just to make sure everything's working right. So I'm gonna save this orange shirt as YouTube number 2. And so I can hit save. And then it's gonna bring up this tab that asks me what I want to save. Now I want to save everything that I changed, right? So I want to change or save the neck, the shirt, and the sleeves. So this all looks good. So I'm going to hit accept. And now it is saved within my folder where this stuff is located. So to find it, I just have to go to that folder. So you see I'm scrolling up to this external My Daz Library 12 clothing folder, because this is where I save clothing that I get, and I just have to scroll down to the Sviva right here, and I might have to just right click, hit refresh, but then I'm going to come down to the Midriff T. See, this is our clothing. I'm going to click on that, hit the materials, and see now when I scroll down, it's going to be right here. Now, if I don't like this, because I forgot to tell you that whatever picture you have shown on your Daz Studio is what's going to be there. So if you want that same look, just move your character. And I'm kind of OCD about this, so I'm going to just adjust this, move my character, and then I can save this again. So let's get it kind of in the right spot. That looks good. So that kind of matches the other ones. So now I can just go back and resave it. So save as, layered image preset. And then when I do it, it's just going to open it up, and I can go to the YouTube 2 right there, and then just hit save. It's going to ask me if I want to replace it. I hit yes, just hit accept, and see now it put it in the correct picture. So whatever picture you have on your screen is what it's going to save it as. So see, now I have these layers. Now what's cool is, see, I can click on one of these, and then I can re-add my layer. Now, what you have to realize is this is a layer, not a texture. So the original ones that came with the product are textures. So if I want to go from this preset one to the one that I just created, I can't have it on here because when I add it, so it's going to add a layer onto it. So now it has both. So we don't want to do that. Remember, I started off with the white. So if I just create the white t-shirt and then I go down to my layer, hit the layer, it's going to add a layer to that. And so now she's got the shirt that I created. Run an I-ray test. Let's see what it looks like. All right, beautiful. Pretty darn cool, isn't it? So we can create our own textures. Okay, I want to show you one more example of this, because if you remember on our first example, we used a logo that had transparency already built into it. We just found that on the internet. Now, if we want to use a different logo, so let me open this back up. If we want to use a different logo that is not transparent, we can still do that just fine. Let's find a different logo. I don't know. Let's look maybe just like this one. So this logo does not have any transparency. So I'm just gonna right click, we're gonna save it, and we're gonna save it into our L.I.E texture folder. All right, so I'm gonna hit save. Now we can manipulate our texture and we can add that one. So I'm gonna go back with the t-shirt selected. I'm just gonna go back and select the white again. And then we're just gonna go through the same steps we went through before. I'm gonna click on the picture under base color in the texture. Let's go to browse, we'll open it up, we'll right click, and then we will open up GIMP again with our picture. All right, so we just hit convert, and now we're back. All right, I'm gonna get rid of these so that you don't get confused. Okay, so we opened up our picture into GIMP, and we're gonna go through the same procedure. I'm just going to select a new layer so that we have a layer on top of this. We won't be writing on this at all, we'll be writing on our new layer. And then I'm going to open that other YouTube picture, and it should still be under the Daz L.I.E texture folder that I created. See, it's right here. This is a JPEG, so I'm just going to open it up. We can convert it. So now we have our logo, and we're going to have to be careful here. We want everything to be perfectly square. So I'm going to hit my lasso, and I'm just going to draw straight lines. And then we're going to hit Control C. We're going to click on our clothing, Control V, and now we have it here. It's too big. Then hit Shift S. That brings up the resizing. Then I can resize it. Remember, whenever you want to move something, you have to go back to that lasso. Go back to the lasso. We'll move it. That looks pretty good. Once we like where it's at, we'll just click. And now we can save it. So we're going to delete the shirt. Now we have our YouTube picture. So I'm just going to go File, Export As, and we want to rename this. So I'm going to click on it. Let's just rename it Midriff T YouTube 3. All right, and then I'm going to make sure that it is going where I want it. So I'm going to select my L.I.E texture folder, select that, hit export. Okay, so now we can get out of GIMP. I'm going to X out of this. Now we can use our layered image editor again. So with my shirt selected, I'm going to go to base, go to the base color picture, hit it, and then go to layered image editor. And then now I can add my image layer, and we want to go to that folder, the L.I.E folder, which is right, whoops, it's right here. So I'm going to click on my L.I.E folder, and then this is the new YouTube logo. So I'm just going to double click it. It's going to come on, and now we have to go to this blend mode source over, hit it, hit multiplicative, and boom, it's on there. Now if we don't like this positioning, we can move it, but I like that. Our opacity is a little bit low. See how it looks faded? So if that's the case, just move your opacity up, and then it's going to be dark. If we like that, if we want a white t-shirt, we like this, then we'll just hit accept. and our new logo is on. Now we can also, of course, change the color of the t-shirt again. So I can come up here, I can add a color layer if I want. And what's cool is we can change it to any color we want. So we can make it yellow if we want. And see, it's going to make it yellow. Now this looks better. So the red doesn't work, but you can see the yellow is inside the YouTube logo as well. That YouTube logo changed because of the multiplicative layer. So it's sitting on top, totally transparent. So when we hit accept, Milika is going to change to yellow. But remember, we have to go back and we are going to have to change the other parts of her shirt to that same color. So we have to do the... Alright, pretty darn cool. So I'm going to save this. Remember, if I want to save it, I'm going to go to File, Save As, Layered Image Preset. And then the second one that I make, it's automatically going to go to the folder that we want it at. All right. But remember, we have to orient her so that her picture is what we want. So let's make it like this. And then I'll go to File, Save As, Layered Image Preset. And then with this one, let's just name it the YouTube 3. So I'm going to have 3 YouTube t-shirts. We want all of those selected, so I'm just going to hit accept. And now we have 3 different YouTube layers. Now remember, if we want to apply the layer, we need to go back up and apply the white texture, and then we'll drop down and we can apply our layer, and boom, we have multiple layers. So I hope this helped you out. I think it's really cool. Play with it a little bit. The layered image editor is a super cool tool. You know, when we're adding layers, it does cause more memory to be used from your computer. Your graphics card is going to be used a little bit more. And so if you have a slower computer that doesn't have a fast graphic, if you have a slower computer that doesn't have a really quick graphics card, this is going to take some time. You just have to be patient. It's going to increase render time in some instances because your graphic card is working a little bit harder. But it's a really cool option that you have to add things to your scene. So let's put her into a scene. We'll render it up and we'll see what we get. Here is Milika in a simple scene looking on her computer. So we're going to get this render going. Thank you very much for your patronage. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and comment, please, on what you like about my videos and what you'd like to see in the future. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.